thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it is a fit for you.
8:37 in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Kennedy inbound delays start at Nagel at 56 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 40 from Montrose, 30 of the Express. Outbound, 36 minutes to the airport. Eden's 19 minutes. Lake Hook to the junction, outbound 33. Inbound Eisenhower, an hour and 5 minutes, 390 to downtown. 53 minutes for Wolf, outbound 39 minutes to 390. Stevenson runs 52 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 27 minutes, I-80 to the Burns Mission, 425. Northbound Tri-State, it's heavy, 115th and Ridgeland to pass Southwest Highway. Wreck in the two left lanes, and it's heavy 87th to Ogden and Roosevelt to the Grand Avenue curve. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. In our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, partly sunny and 33 today. It's 28 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So this theory is making the rounds, theory about electoral politics that's sort of being popularized by a young professor at Christopher Newport University in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia named Rachel Beitkoffer. The theory builds on the notion of negative partisanship. That's dynamic and partisanship. We talked about in this show, negative partisanship. I don't necessarily affiliate with the Republican Party, but I dislike the Democrats more. I don't necessarily affiliate with the Democrat Party, but I dislike the Republicans more, and that's what animates my vote or explains my sort of default allegiance to one party over the other. Well, Beitkoffer takes it to the next level in suggesting that there's no such thing as the swing voter. The swing voter is a myth. The swing voter, to the extent they used to exist, is now an extinct political species. There's disagreement about her theory. It held up in 2018. She was pretty close to the number on the number of seats that the Democrats picked up in the House, and this is why she gained some popularity, as did her theory. But there's a lot of other experts in the space that point out that her theory doesn't explain some examples of Obama voters in 12 voting for Trump in 2016 in not insignificant numbers in certain regions of the country. And I'm sort of in that camp. I think negative partisanship is real, but her dogma takes it too far. There are other factors. Negative partisanship may even be the most predominant factor, but there are still other factors that have impact on the margins. And when you're talking about presidential elections that are often decided by a few 100,000 votes spread over a few states, the margins matter. For more on this topic, as well as a look ahead to November, we're pleased to be joined by Kyle Kondik, who's a managing editor of Larry Sabato's Crystal Ball and University of Virginia Center for Politics Director of Communications. Kyle, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
If I'm remembering that Politico piece properly, I believe Sabato was quoted in responding to Beitkoffer's theory. What's your take on negative partisanship explains everything?
I think I was actually in there.
Oh, you were in that. Okay.
Yeah, and I know Rachel and like Rachel, I also think that it sometimes happens with these articles. Sometimes someone's views are sort of taken, made to be a little bit more dramatic than they are. I think that Rachel probably doesn't think there aren't any swing voters, but I think she's also focused on this idea of the kind of differential turnout in different kinds of elections. And so, like in 2018, more of a Democratic-leaning turnout, which I think is true. But at the same time, I have kind of a mixed view on it, as I think that you do. In that, like, if you look at the state of Illinois and you look at what happened in 2016 in some of the suburban, exurban congressional districts, specifically Illinois 6 and Illinois 14, those districts were drawn by Democrats to basically safely elect Republicans, and all of a sudden, a lot of Romney voters in those places, I think, had to have either voted third party or voted for Clinton.
Right.
At the same time, you had Illinois 12 in the southern part of the state, Illinois 17, which is Sherry Bustos' congressional district. Those are places that went from Obama to Trump, and you don't see that sort of dramatic change with just changes in turnout. I don't think you have to have voters, actually actively changing their minds, and then we saw that Democrats ended up picking up Illinois 6 and Illinois 14 in the 2018 midterms, and so I think it's kind of a mix here. But there are voters who change their minds, but there are also differences in turnout and whatnot from year to year.
At the top level, I mean, of course, the top of the ticket always matters significantly, if predominantly. And you suggest that Trump is what's going to matter for Republicans keeping the Senate and having any shot at taking the House.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've seen in recent over the course of the last several decades that there used to be a lot more ticket splitting for president and then for House. And I think you saw a lot of that in the South. You saw moderate to conservative Democrats getting elected in the South, but also those places voting Republican for president. One of the great stories of American politics over the last several decades is that those kinds of moderate to conservative Democrats have been wiped out and replaced with conservative Republicans. At the same time, you had kind of liberal or moderate northeastern Midwestern Republicans who represented places Democrats who went for president. Those folks have largely gone away as well. And I think what Republicans are hoping to do is that the Democrats control 30 congressional districts that Donald Trump won for president. The Republicans control only 5 that voted for Clinton. And I think what Republicans are hoping is that the House vote and the presidential vote are essentially tied at the hip, and Trump wins again and carries Republicans to victory in a lot of those districts that Trump won in 2016 and very well may win in 2020. Now, history suggests that we probably wouldn't expect, we would expect there to be, some differential between the House and the presidential vote, but I think part of the reason why the Republicans have remained so tied to Trump is because, in some sense, their only way to win the House back is if he does well, and they need to do things that essentially try to make the president as strong as possible, and that includes supporting him on things like this recent impeachment battle.
What about open congressional seats? I mean, Hurd's leaving. There's a number of congressmen that are calling it quits. Are those guaranteed to go back to the parties that the incumbent held?
Good question. So Republicans have sort of struggled with retirements in 2018, and also to the extent that there have been retirements in 2020, there are many more Republicans in competitive seats who have retired than Democrats in competitive seats. And so there are a number of districts spread across the country, some in Texas, some in there's one in Metro Atlanta, places where much like in Illinois 6 and Illinois 14, places that were historically pretty Republican, really didn't like Trump as much as they had liked Mitt Romney or John McCain or George W. Bush. So the Republicans do have some exposure in some of those districts, specifically those suburban ones that appear to be trending Democratic. Although it will be interesting to see if, in fact, Bernie Sanders gets the Democratic presidential nomination, which I don't know, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Whether Sanders can do as well in the suburbs as Hillary Clinton did, given that Sanders is, a much more avowedly liberal candidate, I think, than Clinton was. I mean, Clinton was a liberal candidate, but Sanders more so.
And with respect to the path for Trump and, by extension, congressional Republicans, is the conventional wisdom is it goes through the suburbs. Is it really the suburbs, like the well-to-do suburbs? You mentioned Illinois 6, Or is it more like the exurbs, just outside sort of the suburban footprint, the more middle-income exurbs, like, say, in Illinois 14?
Yeah, I would say Illinois 14 is certainly a better target for Republicans than Illinois 6 is. First of all, it's a district that Trump carried, whereas he didn't carry Illinois 6. If you go throughout the country, there are a couple districts in northeastern Pennsylvania that are really kind of more like small to medium-sized towns, or even kind of rural areas that Democrats hold. There are a few districts in Iowa that fit that classification. And so I think you're onto something in suggesting that while we talk about the suburbs so much in politics, some of these actual districts you would not really classify as being truly suburban. You'd maybe call them exurban, or even more like kind of small town rural America.
And if you were taking a snapshot today and just holding it and saying today's election day, what are the chances that what are the realistic chances Republicans have to take the House? Because I talked to a well-known former Republican member of Congress last year, and he said, privately, he didn't think there was a chance to win the House. Now, this was before the impeachment imbroglio and so much else that's come to pass. Things can change quickly. But as we stand here today, is the possibility, if Trump were at where he is today on Election Day, is the possibility for Republicans to take the House? Is it 50-50? Is it 1 in 3? Is it 1 in 10?
I give the Democrats a decent chance to retain the House. I don't know what number I'd peg on it, 75-80% or something.
Okay.
But I also think that there has been, particularly recently, just because Democrats have done so well at fundraising compared to House Republicans, that essentially that there's no shot for the Republicans to take the House back, and I don't really feel that way. But again, part of it is based on the strength of the president, and I look at the presidential race as basically still kind of a 50-50 proposition. So it's dependent on Trump winning, and I think Trump doing maybe better than he did in 2016. But the House is still competitive. Again, I think there's been this thought that it's not going to flip at all, and I don't feel that way necessarily, but I do think the Democrats are favored.
He is Kyle Kondik. He's managing editor of Larry Sabato's Crystal Ball and the University of Virginia Center for Politics' director of communications. Kyle, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Did you miss the open enrollment this year? I can help you purchase a PPO health insurance plan all year long that eliminates the mandatory maternity coverage. This is Tom Marabali, your health insurance advocate and independent producer for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and other major medical carriers. If you're 50 and are covered by the Affordable Care Act, you're paying for maternity coverage whether you want the coverage or not. In Chicago, the least expensive ACA PPO health insurance plan is $570 per month with a total out-of-pocket cost of $8,150 before your bills are paid at 100%. I can eliminate the mandatory maternity coverage and lower your monthly premium down to $480 per month with a total out-of-pocket cost of $2,500 before your bills are paid at 100%. That's a savings of $5,650 in total out-of-pocket cost per person with my lower deductible. For a free quote and to see if you qualify, call me, Tom Marabali, at 630-863-3477. That's 630-863-3477.
Hey, got a great night's sleep last night. Still kind of waking up. I'll let you know when I get to work. Thanks to MyPillow. I love all the MyPillow products. Just walk in the bedroom, anywhere, anyone's room. You've got a MyPillow pillow, MyPillow mattress topper, the Giza cotton sheets, which are amazing, and the new MyPillow towels, which are soft and absorbent. And right now, you can still get the 2-for-1 on the Giza cotton sheets. Yes, 2 sets of Giza cotton sheets for the price of 1. It is the best offer ever. So go to mypillow.com, type in Amy, A-M-Y, in that promo code. 2 sets of Giza cotton sheets for the price of 1. It doesn't matter the size. Get king size and get a set of queen for free, or get a king and a single. It'll work out. So go to mypillow.com, and you'll also get deep discounts on all those MyPillow products I mentioned, plus free shipping. Hello. Call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201. Or go to mypillow.com. Type Amy in that promo code.
Balance of Nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
My husband's getting great results with his blood work, and he just feels great. Also, his hair is growing in. It's really interesting. He's getting lots of new hair, which I thought was pretty amazing.